makes a show great? You write about greatest shows on earth.
Yeah, well, it's,
for you and your collaborators.
it's a very contentious title because the shows that are left out will always be greater than the shows that are included.
It's a subjective.
It's highly subjective and highly personal and emotional. What I wanted to avoid was the idea of a canon where we're told what the greatest shows are. I hope this book doesn't say these are the greatest shows. What these shows did and what made these shows great, I think they were great for the spectator who wrote about them. So there was a moment, a kind of rapport between performance and spectator. And they're generally spectators that are writing, not always, but generally spectators. So greatness, I think, very much is in the eye of the beholder, but there were some themes that ran through here. So there were some objectively great shows: Faust, Brooks, King Lear, Robert Lepage, Dragon's Trilogy, Jan Lauver's Isabella's Room, I think objectively great shows. But running alongside those were some kind of almost culturally invisible performances. And there's a sense where I think one of the values of this book is that it gives a kind of permanence to those very ephemeral, almost invisible performances that slid away without huge audiences sometimes. Not like Faust, which will live for a while and will live in the memory for a long time, but some very small performances that captured something. And there's a problem always with words to describe theatre. And so what I was proud of with this book, and I was much more curatorial than editorial, is that the voices that emerged are individual, idiosyncratic, intellectual, but also very, very emotional. The book is about connections, and they're written by people who were only this distance from the work they're writing about, so not a kind of borrowed sense of greatness.
Aren't you somehow troubled by the fact that theater is an ephemeral art? What stays after a performance is what remains in the memory of the audience, and maybe these books, and maybe a video copy which cannot express the energy of the.
Well, that's a very interesting question, and I am troubled by that because the thing I love about theatre is its ephemerality. That it's here and it goes, and performers age and retire, and no longer the show is no longer in existence. It's not like a movie that we keep going back to. So on the one hand, I embrace that ephemerality. We get a once-only chance to see something, maybe. But I write, and I write about theatre. So I try in this book, this edited book, and in other books and articles to acknowledge the impossibility of cementing the work into something that it was not. But I hope that the descriptions and the analysis that occur in this book kind of add something, even as much that is valuable drifts away. So it's a kind of record. It's almost like a snapshot of work that took place from 1962 up until 2 years ago. That's the span of the work. And includes pieces like the Sydney Olympics opening event. I was fascinated when Peter Snow wrote about that. And the idea of this as a theatre event that said, for Peter Snow, a great deal about the culture that he lives in and the relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians. Really fascinating. But yes, ephemerality is the thing I value in theatre. As a writer, it's the thing I struggle against.